Welcome to FCC Supporter Square, the show for fans, by fans, and about fans. Here are your hosts, Matt Warman, Boston Brazel, and Mark Suffin.
Grr, bad, boo, so much stuff to talk about. 2 games in a week. Neither one of them we really want to talk about, but that's our job here at FCC Supporter Square. Welcome. This is probably the first time this year that I have been angry for various reasons. I mean, Atlanta, I have a lot of anger for that game, but of a lot different anger for different reasons for the game that happened yesterday here at Teakle Stadium. Sadly, I missed it because I have family. Last week I was in New York for a wedding. This weekend I have yet another wedding from yet another nephew, and my kids and some extended family are coming into town. So I am smoking a brisket, by the way. If you guys have not tried my brisket, it's pretty good. But with me, also angry because I know I've talked to him a little bit before, but not much. Mark Suffin. Mark Suffin, on a scale of 1 to 10, how angry are you?
Well, there's a couple of things today that make my heart a little happier. But considering the last week, I'd say it's around a 5 right now out of 10. And you can't go into playing the 13th ranked or the 13th and the 11th place teams in their respective tables, and to have such a poor result as these. It almost it's I don't understand it. We can go over what happened, but certainly the Atlanta match was completely unbelievable. The Dallas match, you just saw a first half of greatness and then a second half of what is going on. But yeah.
And for no good reason, from what I could gather for yesterday's game. But yes, with Atlanta, I had to say Guido was Guidoing on
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yep.
We've had him for a few matches, and he's like, people are like, "Well, I think he's okay now." It's like, no, no. He said, "Hold my beer. Let me
Yeah.
show you." Um, if this was American football, that would have been pass interference or an illegal block on a return.
Yep.
There's various things. When you deplete a guy 20 yards from the ball, that makes absolutely no sense. Absolutely no sense that you don't call that an immediate red card.
Yep.
Two things that affected that game tremendously, and now we have issues, is one, that would have been a red card. They would have been down a man.
Yep.
That wouldn't have happened, right? We weren't going to be able to we would have been able to do whatever we want. And that's their top offensive player. Two, we lost our man from that terrible foul, and we never played. We have yet to play the same since Hagelin has left, which leaves us to our defense, and we'll talk probably a lot more given the time that we have. I think we have more things to talk about than we have time on this podcast, but
Yeah.
we'll get to that. But I want to, before we get into all the anger, or do you want to wait for the joyfulness after we get through the angriness? How do you want to play this?
I'll let you go, Mr. Host. You stir the pot here, and I'll simmer a bit.
That sounds like a blast. So yeah, so Guido not giving us a red card, that was bad. But more importantly, in real time, I yelled, Guzan just punched Dado and Valenzuela in the back
Yeah.
of the head
Yeah.
after he kicked the ball. It wasn't like he was going for the ball and Dado was going for a header and it's kind of a bang bang. No, Dado got there first, hits the ball, and Guzan just whacks him in the back of the head. And Guido's like, I don't know what's going on. I think it's okay. He punched him. It's like, no, that's not okay. That's never okay. That was also a red card.
Yes.
With that being said, bad officiating happens, atrocious officiating happens, and it seems like we get the brunt of that. Everybody seems to get some kind of brunt. But the more important thing is that play that Lath did knocked Hagelin out of the game. When you
Yeah.
when you break ribs and puncture a lung, and you weren't jumping for a ball or doing anything, that's just bad. That's just bad play. That is bad everything. But that threw our defense in a tizzy. We never did recover. We offensively, both games offensively, we showed that we could do what we need to do. Defensively, which has been the bedrock of this team for the last 2 or 3 years, you tell me. You tell me what's going on.
You have a defense that, they're getting sucker punched, and we're showing some wear already. One match from midway through the season, and we've got a hemorrhaging defense. And you know, to think that losing Haglund was going to be a major problem for our defense. I mean, we all knew what Haglund was going to give us this year. It was probably going to be his very last year in Major League Soccer. So we are just going to, the hometown kid gets his last hurrah, and what a gracious thing. Well, now that he's gone, we're like, oh, we really need him. We've got to have him. It's totally changed because Hagelund's come back playing very well, and he's deserved all the time that he's getting. But what a uh, absolutely violent blow that he got, and it's just sad the state of refereeing. It's still, being talked about in different podcasts and MLS circles. You know, refereeing still is it needs serious help. It's just not at the level we need. Now, certainly 2021 was a season we really had a lot of issues with refs. Now, granted, we were in the midst of a third wooden spoon, but man, there were so many questionable calls and things. But I'm hating that it's coming back like this again. Where we've had 4 or 5 different strange non-calls or calls, and it seems to be cropping up again. So I hate that we're going down this path again, but we've just had a rough week and a half, that's for sure.
Yeah, we had a spate of unfortunate PKs that have been keeping people in games. Without some of those PKs, our one goal, I know we win so many one goal games and whatnot. But yeah, we got close. It was 3-2. That last goal in extra time, makes it 4-2, puts the ice on the top. But there was 2 calls where if it were us, we would have gotten the goal interference call. Lath is there, whether it hits him or not, I don't care. That should have been there. And this is the key part here. This is the key part, and this is happening in all leagues across the world. VAR, what it did tremendous things for football. I cannot tell you because, well, I can tell you because I am old enough to remember when officiating was so bad in American football
Yeah,
that they had to bring in replay. They didn't want to. They had to.
yeah,
And then suddenly things have changed. Now that sport has a lot of what is a catch. I can't define that certain aspects of that game, and I'm not going to go into it because this is a soccer podcast.
yeah,
But VAR, for lack of a better term for them, has been tremendous. It's gotten to the point to where you have to watch it frame by frame almost, but they get the calls right most of the time,
yep.
99% of the time. Nobody's really worried about if the replay says it, the replay does it. People aren't mad. VAR in soccer, holy crap. I'm sorry, but pardon my language, but I had fired up because VAR should have seen that.
Yeah,
I understand the ref, Guido being not seeing it because this happened behind the play.
yeah,
He could see that he thinks it's an embellishment, but that's on him. That's on the ref going, you faked. I'm sorry. The other team's been faking as well. VAR should go, no, you need to look at this. And that should have been a red card. 100%. I don't think anybody, even Atlanta fans, would say, yeah, we got away with that one. when you get a punctured lung, and then nothing from the league. The league
Yeah.
should step in and go fix this. It's unacceptable. It's
Yeah.
why MLS is going to be a hindrance
Mhm.
to growing into bigger and better things, because the product on the field is the most important thing. You can have all the storylines and this and that and Miami and Columbus and all that stuff, but if you can't have a good officiating every week, and the players more than anything else, right? All the players want to know is this a foul? Is this not a foul? And week to week, you never know what you're going to do. You can decleat some guy on one week and it's a no call, and barely touch somebody the next week and get a yellow card. It's
Yeah.
crazy. The ref last week, I know you were into Bailey, so it was hard to see. I was at home, by the way, but the ref last night was not calling handballs.
Oh,
Literally
at
was
least,
not calling handballs.
yeah.
No, hit him in the arm. No, we're not going to call it.
Yep.
Uh, there
At
was
least
one in the box,
three.
but I think it hit him in the back. I don't think it hit him in the arm. But if it hit him in the back of the arm as he's turning, I don't know. It's unfortunate, but we've gotten, Alvis Powell had
Yes.
he was jumping and it kind of turned and hit his arm, and they gave him a PK. But
Yeah.
we didn't get any of those.
No. And, last night, even Dotto's goal, that was a handball, but it went in afterward. So, it just like, oh, there's another handball in that match. And it was just surprising that it kept happening. And I mean, you could see it from the other side of the field, down at the other end, from the Bailey. You're like, there's a handball, and the whole place erupted, and nothing. And it's another irritating way, because certainly somebody should have been in his ear telling him, hey, we saw it. Um, take a look at that. Just take a look at it and come to a decision. Don't just slough it off when it's happened. We saw it happen. I've seen the replay. It happened. So it's just inexcusable at this point, where we've had VAR implemented for years, that now it doesn't matter, because if VAR doesn't really get involved, then who is? That's what we're left with. We're left with no involvement.
So now that we've covered that whole mess, well, before I get into it, I just want to say I'm a season ticket holder, so I'm usually at the games. I've never watched a home game at home
Yeah.
and not at the stadium. But I will tell you, don't even think about it. When you're watching it at home and you're watching a home game, I'm hoping he's listening to our podcast, because I turned off the announcers and turned on Tommy G. You have a chance. You go there. So if you go over there and there's like a little question box or a box, and you click on the box and it says announcers or radio, and they only have home radio, right? So on away
Right.
match, you can listen to Tommy G. It was night and day better. It was
Yes.
so much better. I wasn't getting angry at the announcers saying all kinds of stupid stuff and pumping up. Like, their job is like, FC Cincinnati was the better team last night. That's why the draw was so depressing,
Uh-huh.
because of simple defensive lapses. But Tommy G, we don't have to. I didn't have to listen to that. I just had to listen to the game and
Yep.
explain some things, and that's good. And we'll get to, hopefully, if we have time, get to the Lucho boo. Uh, I don't even know if it's a controversy. In my mind, it is not, but we'll get to that. But I think we should really talk about the defense. Um, Really, kind of, should we have kept Hidebe? I mean, I guess we had to, because he was the cheaper of the two options trading to Colorado. But I thought going into this season with a healthy Matt Miazga and Hagelin playing well and Robinson playing great, we could really do things. And Flores has been looking really good. But last night he looked like a rookie. I mean, he hadn't played in a little bit, but he looked terrible. That second goal, where he's whoever it was running down Broadway unabated.
Yeah.
I said, I saw it live. I said, he's offsides, and then they showed the replay, and I'm like, Oh no,
Yeah.
he wasn't even close. He was definitely, because he was running like he had to have been offside because there was nobody within 20 yards of him. Um, this is professional soccer. You can't let a guy run down the middle of the pitch unabated.
Yep.
Easy pass. Oh my goodness. So Flores had some I guess what we called brain farts back in the day, because those are that first goal was also not being marked.
Yep. Well, Matt, you've touched on exactly what I think is happening. We cannot look at the individual when we talk about our defense, because what did we see in Columbus, and what has been the mantra of how we defend? We defend in space. We do not defend the ball or the man. We are literally occupying space, but we're seeing that we're getting beat time and time again. Giving up 7 goals in the last 2 games to 13th and 11th place. That has to be rectified, and we cannot play a zone type defense. We must play on ball defense, because that will make the players accountable. And if we're defending 10 players, we're all getting on the ball, and it's going to be it'll look just like Columbus. Columbus plays 10 men defense. If you have the ball, there's 10 guys going to try to get it from you. We need to play that way. We're not playing a style that says we've got, I'm on this guy, and if he's going to get the ball, I'll be on it immediately. We're not doing that. That's it.
For me, we're playing with a back three. That means our wing backs can move up.
Yep.
I think Alvis Powell, right, look, we're rotating, but you should know your role.
Yep.
If you're a back three, you're back three. Alvis Powell should not be going anywhere up the pitch. He's not a wing back. He's supposed to be playing in the back three. Uh, Somebody was way out of position and up the field. Where's Obi? I know he was going up the pitch a bit. Like everybody seemed to be going up the pitch because we were talking about how slow we are and how deliberate and how too far back we are. Then we went the pendulum went the other way. Now we had everybody going forward. We only had like one guy going back, and somebody had to stop ball. So nobody rotated over. And
Yep.
don't get me started on the free kicks either, because we're not marking any man. That header goal. I mean, there's two guys in the area. I think it was Flores, but nobody went after the ball. They just kind of stood there and let him go up and hit it and knock it in.
Exactly.
If you told me it's a 3-3 tie and Lucho was coming to town, you'd say, "Oh, well, he had a goal and assist, right?" It's like, no,
Yeah.
he had absolutely no effect in this game. None.
Nothing.
He was shut down
Yep.
100%, and I wouldn't be surprised because they practiced against him for 3 years. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody knows there's a couple guys who didn't, but most of the team knows what he's going to do, and I'm sure Noonan knows what he's going to do. But that they were out of position. And you had a 2-goal lead, so there's no reason for you to wander up and do that, right? If it
Right.
gets 3 or 4, then maybe you give one, but you don't. Look, 2-0 that first half offensively, and I would say both halves, but lesser in the second half. And there's another issue: is our second half performance in the last 4, 5, 6 games. Our second half performance just drops off the cliff. We
Yep.
had our best 45 minutes. Everybody was super psyched. We had a 94% chance of winning that game. We
Yep.
ended up with a draw. And maybe we were fortunate there wasn't an extra 5 minutes, because the
Yep.
way we were playing was terrible. Dado did come back and showed that we can fight, but that first half, 2-0, we got them put out. They're not doing anything. All we need to do is take care of the ball, and we did nothing. And we gave them, it's like, don't give them a goal in the first 5 minutes. Oh wait, here,
Oh,
have a
yeah.
goal. Give them life. Give them because they scored. Then suddenly they were energized because they were not only down 2, they were demoralized. The team in those lower, if you give them a chance, if you give them hope, they will rally. none of these teams that we're playing outside of maybe if we ever played the LA Galaxy this year, they all have a chance. They're not
Yeah,
as bad. They're just not consistent.
right.
And right now we're playing to their level, and it's driving me absolutely insane. So speaking about Lucho and the no effort, I want to hear your opinion of the whole booing Lucho, not booing Lucho, booing him too much. He was unhappy that he got booed because he did so much for this city. I want to hear your opinion before I say anything. So go ahead.
Well, it's amazing how a guy that had an MVP season here helped us win the Supporter Shield. But how many times did we see when something didn't go his way on the pitch, how he turned around and just simply walked it back? He was not chasing back in defense. He was not, he took himself out of the play so many times, so many times. And booing him is simply the gamesmanship that we give. Brandon Vasquez was different. He left on extremely good terms. We just hushed when he scored, and that's all there was to it. I think a few people booed, but but he gave himself up by saying, "I don't like what's happening here. I want out." Well, that rubs just about everybody the wrong way. So he's going to get booed. A lot of people did not boo. I will tell you that. A lot of people did boo, and that's what we heard. So he's just he's getting his just dessert. We saw him do, become a very, world-class player here in Cincinnati, but we saw a guy that was still, getting upset when things didn't go his way. And in leaving, he didn't get his way, so he left. And, we weren't happy with him when he did that stuff on the pitch. We're certainly not happy with him leaving. That's what we heard last night.
And that's what you get. You buy a ticket, it's your right to boo, clap, say nothing, do nothing. Did he do amazing things on this team? Did he help us win the Shield? And these things can all be true. Yes, he was an amazing force on the field. He was also a defensive liability. If you saw him, as you said, he would try to dribble 1v3, lose the ball, and then throw his hands up because he was dribbling 1v3 and lost the ball. There was many instances last year where his losing the ball directly caused goals. Um,
Mhm.
and he just pushed way too hard. You're seeing this year the offense being so much better. It's balanced. Buka got his first goal. I'm just surprised it was just his first goal, but
Yeah.
but the play of Evander is a team play. It's not Evander getting the ball. There's oftentimes Evander's not getting the ball, but he's doing things off the ball. Denke does the same thing.
Right.
But this is a team now. Engel's getting more involved. Yedlin, Orishano's getting lots of touches as he should. But it's not all running through Evander. Evander is just a facilitator and where you need to be. So from a team perspective, we are in a much better position. We love Lucho, but when you say I want out of the city and I don't like Noonan or I don't like Albright, I think it was more Albright than
It
Noonan.
was.
You're not signing my friends to contracts. Um, that's not your job. Your job is to play. And if you say, hey, I've got these guys that would be really good, I could work with them, then that goes into consideration. But there's other reasons: too much money, not enough cap space, all kinds of things that facilitate better players from different things. We have they're old. We need younger and faster. Just because you like them doesn't mean we should do that. You're not the GM. You're just the captain, and you get paid well to do that. So go do that.
Yeah.
Uh, he did not get booed like Frankie Amaya. Like you said, Vasquez didn't do his goal celebration. He was respectful about, hey, I when he was in Monterey, I think he did do that or looked at his fans because at this point it's 2 or 3 years past, and he got his PK, and he said he saluted his fans. That's what we'd expect Danke to do when we were away, and he scored a PK. So there was nothing insidious about that. That's part of the game. But to have him after the game go, I was shocked. Oh, the vapors. I'm gonna faint. I think I heard a boo. Boo hoo. If I was there, I would have booed him. Only because of how his actions are, and the rumors that was his fault for wanting to leave in the first place. I'm not going to even entertain that. So enough of that. And next time he shows up, he's going to get booed again if he's 34, 35 and still playing MLS. But yes, it's been a lot of stuff. So before we move on, let's move on to the future. I know it was angry. The one other little bright side was the offense looked amazing. The offense is finally beginning to click. That's what we were expecting. Miazga was out for emergency purposes, so this was our rotated squad. But they've been looking good because we played a whole lot of games without Miazga. But the offense is beginning to click. Now we just got to figure out why the defense is, and maybe we need a defensive help in the summer window. I kind of mentioned that a couple of weeks ago. Now it's looking more like we could live with the strikers we have. I'd like to have a better offensive option. Santos did fine. But maybe we need another center back, which is really stupid because we've had so many center backs in the last 2 or 3 years. So tell us let's shift gears now, because otherwise I'll be just angry all the rest of the night, and my brisket will be burnt from my hatred, and I don't want that to happen. Tell us what's behind you for those people who are cutting the grass and listening to our podcast, and why this is the joyous occasion.
Well, Matt, certainly it came up on my phone as from the FC Cincinnati app itself, commemorating a wonderful day in FC Cincinnati history on May 29th, 2018. A bunch of people behind me here and across Rheingeist that day celebrated our being added to Major League Soccer. And what a ruckus occasion it was. And I was happy to be there with so many passionate fans. It was just a tremendous time because we had been promoted, we have arrived. All the hard work has paid off, and that's what this day entailed. Say.
Yeah, I see CCD there. I'm not sure if I'm in that picture or not, but I was there, and there are pictures of me. Oh, Mark had to do some things. For those who are listening, that was our MLS announcement that happened at Rheingeist. I know that many of you were at Fountain Square who couldn't make it to Rheingeist. It was an amazing time. It was so joyous. It was one of my favorite days, soccer days, second only to the Chicago Fire match. I think that was probably still number one. That's still one of my greatest sporting events that I think I've ever witnessed. So we have that. Anyhow, it looks like life gets in the way for those listening. Life gets in the way, and Mark has work obligations that he has to do, so he had to leave. And so we have a game Saturday at 7:30 at Tico Stadium. It is DC United. I believe we won that match in DC earlier this year. Benteke was pretty much stopped. I believe that Hagelin got in his head. So it's going to be interesting. Well, Miazga should be back, so hopefully he can do his black arts and help us get 3 points because we need those 3 points. And I know that you guys are angry and frustrated, but think about this. In spite of giving up 7 goals and only getting 1 point out of the last 6 in our 2 matches, we are still 3 points behind Philadelphia. We are still in second place. Uh, People like Columbus and Nashville are chasing us, not ahead of us. So we're going to have bad weeks. It's just going to happen that way. And we should really be happy to see them on Saturday. Sadly, I won't be there, but you should be there because we're not going to see them for the entire month of June. I think there are 3 road games, and then there's the Club World Cup. That's why we're not going to see them and then there's an international break as well. So I think the international break is for the Club World Cup. So we're not going to see a lot of the team, and we're definitely not going to see any of the team at home until July. So enjoy what you have when you have. And yes, you are okay to be angry, but put it in perspective. This is not wooden spoon angry. This is, yes, we should be doing better angry. And yes, we need to play better defense. But in the grand scheme of things, we still have a lot of things to enjoy, and that's what we should do. So that being said, enjoy this weekend. Enjoy our second place, and hopefully we get our 3 points. And we'll see you next time here on FCC Supporter Square.
Thank you for joining FCC Supporter Square. The hosts are Matt Warman, Boston Brazel, and Mark Suffolk. The intro song is Quick on the Holster by the Stone Bunnies, and the ending song is Awesome Sauce, also by the Stone Bunnies. Thank you for listening. Please join us again.